one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something, you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke. Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop a million songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. You know, I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last.
Yo. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Kicking This. I can't even speak. My neck was hurting and I was trying to do my usual, spit that thing out real quick, pause. And then my neck started hurting. So I was like, I'm going to do this and crank this neck real quick at the same time. It didn't work though. And I stumbled over my words. But I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I am your host, Saint, and we are here to break down the Monday night football games. We close out week 2 of the NFL. It feels like they come and go so quick. So quick. If you are new to the channel, I do appreciate you so much for joining me. This is a sports channel. We're trying to grow one day to become a sports network, and all likes, shares, subscriptions are so appreciated. And I hope to one day be able to give that back to you in return for your support. So I do appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint, or joining me for the first time on an episode of Kicking It with Saint. And we got a lot to talk about because we are going to go over both of these Monday night games before we go over the other games. But we are going to run back over a couple of these other games because in the first breakdown of week 2, obviously we hadn't seen these 2 Monday night games, but I also had more to say about other teams, but the video was running a little long. The show was running a little longer. So I said we're going to go ahead and cut that and save some of these thoughts for this show. So if you watched the last episode and you wanted to know why I didn't finish up a couple thoughts on the Broncos, well, don't worry. I'm going to get to the Broncos this episode. And if I don't get to the Broncos this episode, you can hate me. I don't advise it. Because we got it. The world need love, baby. But I'll understand it. With that being said, week 2 is in the bags. We look forward to week 3. But first, we must wrap up the end of week 2. And it was I don't know how I feel about having 2 football games on at the same time, basically, on Monday night. That, to me, is a prime time spot. I don't like having 2 games on intertwined. If you're going to play 2 games, play them at complete opposite times. You need to play one of those games around 6 o'clock so it can finish up around 9 o'clock when you should start off that next game. I do not like having 2 games at the same time. On this night, however, don't mind. Probably should have started both of these sumbitches at the same time. That's how bad both of these games were for a while. But I want to start off with Carolina, who ended up losing 20-17 at home. And I'm a bit irritated, actually, that I picked Carolina to win this game. Because while I was watching this game, I kept saying to myself, why did I pick Carolina to win this game? I went back and checked my notes and whatnot and was like, yeah, I did pick Carolina to win this game. Like, I couldn't believe it when I picked this game. But that's where I want you to understand. I'm still in preseason mode. But preseason mode is it's got to be over after this week. Because once I realized I picked Carolina, I was hella irritated. Bro, I don't pick teams because they are at home. That is not why I pick certain teams. And while I do not much care for Derek Carr in a sense that I like Derek Carr, the human being, but Derek Carr, the quarterback, just don't blow me away. It's like I tweeted tonight. It don't matter who Derek Carr play. If the opposing quarterback is not rated higher than Derek Carr will still play either worse than the quarterback that's he rated higher than or to that quarterback's level. It's very rare Derek Carr will raise his game to some astronomical level or to the level of a franchise quarterback. Nonetheless, I was very irritated that I picked Carolina because I don't know why I picked Carolina to win this game. I'm picking that New Orleans defense and Derek Carr to make a play or two every day of the week at this point in the season for Carolina. Not quite sure why I picked them, but it went on my record nonetheless. I think my record at the end of this week 2 is my record for week 2 is 10-6. But Henry, big dog, I just want you to know I'm about to go on a heater. All right. So you better take advantage. You probably got like one more week before I really start reeling off every game where I'm getting about 2 games wrong a week. All right. I just want you to know that. That's how serious it's about to get, bro. That's how crazy it's about to get. Nonetheless, I want to talk about this Carolina game because they did end up losing this game 17-20. It was a close game for a lot of it, but then it got to a point where it didn't feel like it was close anymore. But then Carolina got a late touchdown. They didn't get the onside kick, so you knew it was over. So it gave them like that last little gasp of a miracle. But in the end of the day, that just ain't how miracles work, baby. But a couple things that I saw in this game. For one, like Derek Carr is not a franchise quarterback. He is a gap quarterback at this point in his career. I completely understand why the Raiders benched him last year. What I don't understand is why the Raiders didn't try to get rid of him a year or two prior to benching him last year, to be completely honest with you. Because Derek Carr done been pretty much the same quarterback every year of his career, aside from the year he got hurt when he was having a great year. And the year he got him to the playoffs like 2-3 years ago wasn't a great year for him. We just gave him passes left and right because of the different situations with the coach, with the receiver that was happening on the field. So we tend to be very lenient. Well, a lot of people tend to be more empathetic when things happen around out of Derek Carr's control. And we give him credit for being a leader. And I never questioned Derek Carr as a leader. I'm talking about Derek Carr's talent on the field, his production on the field. It's just not good enough. And it just is what it is. Especially considering it's taking him so long in this offense. If they did not have, 2 things happened tonight. If they played against a better offense and their defense wasn't so good, they probably get their ass whooped tonight. To be just completely frank with you. Shout out to Chris Olave, who had an insane catch. Probably the catch of the year at this point. I don't know if I done seen one better than that one so far this year. That shit was crazy. But you look at the weapon. Michael Thomas had a crazy catch in this game also where he sat down on that bat. It was a beaut. But that's the thing. Derek Carr, for the majority of his career, done played with great receivers. Somehow he just never figure out how to get it done late in the season. And it's like I say, the only thing that's consistent about Derek Carr is that he will be inconsistent throughout the entirety of the year. He will be a roller coaster that you can't wait to hop off of because you're ready to puke. Because it's going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. A lot of lows. So get ready to catch that part. And then a mid-level of highs, maybe a 2-week high point before you hit a low, and then another high point until you get back on that up and down, up and so it's vicious. And the Saints offensive line is not as great as it has been in past seasons. And maybe when you get Alvin Kamara, that completely change some of the things on this offense. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm going to continue to say I don't know what Jameis Winston did that was so bad that got this man riding pine like this. Because, bro, it is a lot of quarterbacks that I just think are either not better than Jameis or not that much better than Jameis or on the same level as Jameis. And this is not even considering the fact that Jameis got a stronger arm than most of these dudes, has never really truly been coached up to the point where he had a coach that fully believed in him. He done had weapons also, and I'm not excusing Jameis for some of his up and downs throughout his career. But I mean, Baker's still getting opportunities. Derek Carr is getting opportunities still. Ryan Tannehill's getting opportunities still. Marcus Mariota's still getting opportunities. I mean, what are we doing? So, listen, the Saints will probably win this division. I don't know how competitive and how long the Falcons will be truly competitive. It could be a long year, though, because I don't think none of these teams are really that great. On a week where the Saints defense decide not to show up, or I'm not even going to say it like that. On a week where the Saints defense just have a bad week, I don't know if Derek Carr will show up that week and have a good game. And they could lose to a lesser talented team. That's just the thing. That's the game you play when you survive mostly on your defense. And I truly don't know how big of an impact Alvin Kamara will have in his return. Obviously, with a player like Alvin Kamara, you expect it'll be a great one. However, I done seen Derek Carr play with a great receiver, a great tight end, a great running back combo. So I don't know how great. See, a lot of time, and it don't help that Dennis Allen is a defensive-minded head coach. So you really hoping that your offensive coordinator can get it done. But I just don't know how much Derek Carr moves the needle, even with the talent that he has. However, the division that he plays in, Ritter, Bryce Young, what is the other team? Baker midfield. So, you know what I'm saying? As long as the defense show up, they should probably win this division. On the Panthers side of the ball, I'm still trying to figure out why Frank Wright was so quick to get that job. I'm still trying to figure out the offensive guru in Frank Wright. I'm not making that up. That's what people used to say. I'm trying to figure it out because I know Bryce Young is a rookie. And he's going to make mistakes. He's going to have plays where I'm like, yo, what the hell? But what I don't see in these Carolina games is anything being made easier for Bryce Young. And I could say it's the talent and all that. But I continue to tell you that the head coach get paid also. And I'm not understanding why the head coach, who is the offensive play caller for the Panthers, who is considered an offensive guru by a lot of people, I'm not understanding what he is doing to help Bryce Young. If you watch this game tonight, it's very rare that he did anything to help Bryce Young, whether it be play calling, putting guys in different positions to be successful. Like, I don't understand how a head coach can just be a head coach in title alone. I'm not understanding what it is that Frank Wright is so great at. I didn't see it in Indy, and I'm not seeing it right now in Carolina. But sure, let's blame Bryce Young, the rookie. I could sit here and dissect different things that Bryce. One of the things that I do want to talk about real quick about Bryce Young is Bryce Young got to be a quicker decision maker. This ain't college, my boy. You don't have the offensive line at Alabama, the talent at Alabama, even though you didn't have the Alabama team that some of the other quarterbacks like Tua, Mac, and Jalen Hurts had. However, You got to be a quicker decision maker. Like, it was at one point in time in this game where he looked like he could have ran. It was actually two parts of this game where if he had just went ahead and fully committed to running for the first down, he probably would have got it or came up short to where they make a decision on going forward in 4th and inches. And then there was a point in this game where he was running where it looked like he was, as soon as he started to run out of the pocket, he immediately put his head down. You cannot do that unless you just full out commit to running full steam ahead. As a quarterback, you got to learn to keep your head up because you still have to be able to look down the field and see if somebody pops open at the last second. So he is going to have to learn that. Aside from that, Frank Wright got to be better. And at some point in time, somebody got to hold this man accountable. It's like I said about Zach Taylor, bro. You give Zach Taylor a lot of credit because of the talent that is surrounded that Cincinnati team. But what I'm asking you is, what is he doing to help Joe Burrow? What is he doing to help Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon? It's no reason you should have that type of talent, and the excuse continues to be offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. That's crazy. But, because he came from a Sean McVay tree, it can't be him. All right. Anyways. Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Boy, do I got a lot to say about this game. Cleveland ended up losing this game 22-26 after leading in this game for multiple parts. They probably had to lead longer in this game than the Steelers did. I'm almost certain they did. And they started the game with a pick six. But they got back in, and now the pick six wasn't on Deshaun Watson. The person he threw it to just straight up dropped it, and it ended up getting bobbled it basically. It's a straight drop in my opinion, but it ended up in the defender's hands. However, Nick Chubb, prayers out to him, because if you go see that injury in slow motion and see the pictures, you would have known instantly, they wouldn't even show the replay. You knew his season was over. They already done came out and said his season over. I think they said he done torn MCL, PCL, all that type of stuff in the same knee that he fucked up in Tennessee a couple years ago. So prayers up to Nick Chubb, bro. That injury was gruesome, bro. Your leg is not supposed to bend like that. And it do bring up a conversation people say because Minka is the one who delivered the hit. And it is reckless in a sense. But it's only reckless because I believe you should not be taught to launch yourself at people as a tackle. But I understand that's just something that's going to happen. I mean, people are going to always say that, the situation calls for it and this and that. So it's never going to be an argument that I'm ever going to be able to win. Even though that is just not how you were taught to tackle. It is what it is. So prayers up to Nick Chubb. With that being said, as soon as Nick Chubb went out, who had 10 carries for 64 yards. As soon as he went out, I knew this game was over. I just thought, no. Matter of fact, I don't even want to say that. I didn't know the game was over. Because of Deshaun Watson, the quarterback, and I hate talking about people's money, but the dude who was paid the most guaranteed money in the NFL, I thought at this point in time, because I cannot keep giving him these excuses, he didn't play that season. But, bruh, I don't know what's going on. This was as bad an offensive performance. For one, both teams was garbage on offense. But shout out to the Browns defense. Shout out to TJ Watt and the Steelers defense. Shout out to the special teams, because those are the only units that tried to win this game tonight. This was one of the Browns defense gave Deshaun Watson so many opportunities to extend the lead, to retake the lead, to put the game away. This was god awful. The fumbles, the picks, the bad throws, the off throws. Like, this is holding on to the ball for so long. All the problems that Deshaun Watson had in Houston that we never really talked about because he was so much better in Houston are now seem to be what he is. Because the upside that he had in Houston, he not showing you in Cleveland. And I don't know how much longer you can wait when you pay a dude like that. Like I said, shout out to Deshaun, because he might have made off like a bandit, because this is crazy. Like a thief in the night. Because it's like I said about Russ. You know how much I love Russ as a human being and how I like trying to defend him. But I said it at the beginning at the tour. I said it a lot last year, and I said it at the beginning of this season. Russ is just not good in the pocket. And at this point in his career, he just don't have the athleticism to continue to make off script plays like he did so well in Seattle. He don't got the defense behind him to be able to do it, and he don't got the receiving talent around him to be able to do it. And because of that, it's gonna be tough for Russ to end his career because he's not a guy who was forced to have to play from the pocket the majority of his career, and he don't got Marshawn Lynch running behind him. So it's gonna be tough for Russ to survive. Well, with Deshaun Watson, all of those things that you did so bad in Houston, but was so covered, it was always covered up because your defense might have made a big play here or there. You made big plays here or there. You was able, and people always went at Bill O'Brien. Well, now it's starting to show because you have Amari Cooper. Now you don't have Nick Chubb anymore, but the fact that the best thing that the Cleveland quarterbacks have been able to do the last two couple years with Baker and Deshaun Watson, like the special ability for these Cleveland quarterbacks has been handing the ball to Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. That's been what the Cleveland quarterbacks have done better than anything else they do. And that's just unacceptable when Deshaun Watson get paid what he get paid. You thought that was unacceptable when Baker was looking for a long-term deal. I know you know that's unacceptable when Deshaun Watson already got the money. Something got to change in Cleveland. I think Kevin Stefanski a good head coach, but now I'm starting to wonder what's going on with your play call. I can't keep blaming the quarterback. The tough part about this is it's hard to say that it's completely Kevin Stefanski because I'm looking at these Cleveland games and it is so very clear that Deshaun Watson is not the same quarterback right now. Will he ever get back to that? I don't know. But right now, this ain't just Kevin Stefanski. We cannot keep blaming head coaches all the time, bro. At some point in time, y'all got to learn how to watch some film because I'm watching these games and I'm watching replays, which is the film and all that type. Deshaun Watson is just not good enough. And I tweeted it tonight. He has been average to below average, and that is just unacceptable. Point blank, period. Kenny Pickett was not good tonight. But because Deshaun Watson's, the expectations are higher, he was worse. Now, I was never fooled by the hype of Kenny Pickett and the Steelers in the offseason. So Kenny Pickett doing what he did tonight did not shock me, which is probably why I'm not going to go too crazy on Kenny Pickett because I told y'all how I felt about Kenny Pickett. Y'all let the media fool y'all on that, not me. However, this Deshaun Watson issue right now, this thing right here, nah. It's just no two ways around it. This is unacceptable. The defense cannot have, and you know what's crazy? For the last 3 years, Cleveland's defense do this shit where they give up the most asinine fucking plays through the air. Like, yo, they will have plays on defense where the opposing offense get wide the fuck open and the closest defender is like 8 steps away. And it never makes sense. Like, they just give up the craziest chunk plays over the last couple years. That's actually a stat I would like to see. Like, what's the number of 20-plus yard plays the Browns have given up over the last 3 years? Because maybe it's because I watched the Browns so much, and it could be a team out there who is just as bad, like Chicago or something like that. But, dog, this is unacceptable. Chicago ain't got the talent in their backfield that Cleveland got. Bro, Cleveland got talent in that secondary. And they got talent on the defense. For them to give up the amount of big chunk plays that they give up is insane to me. They did that shit like 3 times tonight. And I think to myself, as bad as Deshaun was, and I'm not excusing him, maybe if Cleveland didn't decide, the Cleveland's defense, and Miles, this ain't on you, brother. You are excluded from everything I am saying. But if everybody else on Cleveland's defense, specifically the secondary, didn't decide that, maybe once, twice, or 3 times a game, we just gonna stop playing. all our controllers are going to die. And immediately come back to life after we're about 8 steps away from the defender. Maybe you don't lose this game, even with how bad Deshaun played. Because that's the thing that's crazy. Cleveland have stretches where they can be a phenomenal defense. And then they give up these insane plays. They picked off Lamar Jackson like 4 times in a game. I think it was last year. Lamar had like 3 or 4 huge plays in that game that ultimately won them the game. Where you say to yourself, Cleveland, how do you ruin a performance like this with 3 just asinine possessions on defense? Well, they continue to show you how. However, I'm not going to completely put this on Cleveland. I just wanted to make that point that Cleveland's defense just continue to give up some of the just most jackass plays to offenses that just make no sense. Bro, this team can have about 10 stops in a row of phenomenal defense and just out of nowhere, you don't never expect it. They're going to give up a 50, 60 plus yard touchdown play. And it's just going to always be like, what the hell just happened? But that's Cleveland. However, with that being said, I am not excluding Deshaun Watson because ain't a soul on that defense getting paid with Deshaun Watson, getting paid not even Myles Garrett. And that is a problem. For us to constantly expect Myles Garrett to show up and be great. But for Deshaun to continue to go out there and do this? Nah. Nah, this is unacceptable at the highest order. And I'm going to be honest with you. I really can't believe my eyes. I really can't believe my eyes. I do not understand what I am. Well, I understand what I'm watching, but I can't believe what's transpiring as I'm watching this. He looked lost out there sometimes. He hold on to the ball long. He hold on to it even longer now. And he don't even have the big play type of threat he had in Houston where Buddy, who was always getting hurt, could just get down the field on some freak shit. He don't even have that type of play, big play weapon. If he just decided to sit back and deliver to the open dude, Amari Cooper would probably be a Pro Bowler this year and an all-pro player because that's how great Amari is. But he don't decide to do that. And then when it feel like everything going wrong and you just have to have a play, he don't always make it. But it feel like then he decided to hit Amari Cooper. The drive to end the game, another just bad drive. And it's not just the offensive line breaking down. Deshaun Watson is not seeing the field great still at this point in his career. And he could get away with it before because of the talent of those receivers could break down a defense for him. So he didn't have to read a defense. He could just go to his top receiver. Before he could rely on his athleticism, but he done missed a couple years in the league. He so very clearly is not the same athlete that he was before because it's very hard for him to escape the same sacks that he could escape before. He don't extend the plays the same way he used to extend them. And because he haven't developed in being able to read defenses, you could even make an argument. Defenses developed in those 2 years he took off or had out of the game while he didn't. And he still was in need of development in being able to read a defense, which is something I don't think you can truly will ever be all the way great at. And eventually, yeah, you great enough to where you realize all these defenses kind of run the same shit. But it's when you got defenses with a plethora of talent, those is really the ones that, all right, they could be running a base set that I done seen a million times, but because they all this freak type talent they got, they're going to switch some things up and be jiggy with it in a couple areas. So that's the type of, you're not getting that development from Deshaun is what I'm saying. The growth that he should have gotten over those last 2 years, he didn't get. And yeah, you could say it was on him, but regardless, he didn't get that. And so the development you would think he would have in being able to read a defense, I could say he done regressed in being able to read a defense the way you would want him to read a defense. And maybe it's on us. And people like me who thought he could go out there and take a year or so and be back in the rhythm of things. But that just ain't how this thing worked because the NFL didn't stop for 2 years in order for him to catch up. And it's not going to stop in 2 years. I know it didn't stop for those 2 years for him not to get left behind. And it damn sure ain't going to stop for 2 years for him to get caught up. And that is a problem. And because of that, Cleveland might ended up just spending crazy money on a dud, on a limit. That's what it's starting to look like. And if I'm being just a realist, forgetting all of what Deshaun was, this ain't looking good, bro. It's just no two ways around it. This is not looking good. And the oh, baby. This ain't looking good. And as for Kenny Pickett, like I said, bro, it ain't too much I can say about Kenny. Because to me, Kenny is what he is, bro. What Kenny is doing on the field right now, what he is displaying on the field, is pretty much what I thought. Now, it don't really help him that the offensive coordinator is not that great, but it don't help the offensive coordinator that the quarterback ain't that great and is a limited quarterback. So it's a double ugly right there. It also don't help the quarterback or the offensive coordinator that the running back is really not that great, but it also don't help the running back that the quarterback and the offensive coordinators ain't that great. It don't help that the offensive line ain't that great, but it also don't help the offensive line that the quarterback, the offensive coordinator, and the running back ain't that great. So it's a lot of fucks. It's a lot of ugly, double, triple, quadruple uglies going on in Pittsburgh right now, which is why I said, for the people who chose them to win this division, you clearly do not watch either of these games or you are just a fan. Because to think that this offense could go into the season and just think and hope they would be good this year because, George Pickens and Kenny Pickett were able to beat up a couple bad teams at the end of the season. That makes no sense to me. This defense is going to win you a couple games. They won you a game tonight, even though I don't know if they win this game against a better offense. But they found a way to stay in it long enough to win you this game. But this offense, you go into this team, you go into the week on a weekly basis, guessing, hoping that they're good. It's no guarantee that they'll be good. You can't even go into every week saying, I got a 30% chance we're going to be a good offense this week. You just can't. And so listen, I think Pittsburgh have two great receivers. Or at least a great receiver and a good receiver. And a good tight end. And a great head coach who, for some reason, will not evolve. Because he has become seemingly satisfied with being a 500 coach. As long as he don't finish under 500. And as long as that seems to be the expectation in Pittsburgh, because fans can keep saying that's not the expectation, but you always celebrate and say after the season, at least we didn't finish under 500. So, as long as that's the acceptable thing, because you're mad right now, but as soon as the season ends, at least we didn't finish under 500, will be ringing all through the streets of Pittsburgh. So, hey, it is what it is on that front, but at least you got that dub tonight. Now, to quickly go right back over a couple of these games from the past week, to go over the scores one more time. New Orleans, again, beat Carolina 20-17 in Carolina. Cleveland picked up a 22-26 L in Pittsburgh. Indy was on the road in Houston, and they picked up a 31-20 win. Anthony Richardson left the game with a concussion. Kansas City was in Jacksonville, and they picked up a win 17-9. I am just not seeing the development in Trevor Lawrence right now. Seattle picked up a 37-31 win in Detroit. And I pretty much saw that coming. I'm going to tell you what's funny. If you flip these scores and give Detroit 37 and Seattle 31, Henry about damn near picked this game perfectly. The only fuck up was he picked it 38-31 for Detroit. So he picked the wrong team and he was off by 1 point. Nonetheless, the Chargers were in Tennessee and they picked up another L. 24-27 in Tennessee. Now, what's interesting to me is we're going to continue to blame the coach. We're going to continue to blame the defense. I already see people blaming Kellen Moore. But what's very interesting to me is how you're so happy when Justin Herbert is efficient and can complete all these passes and do all this amazing shit in the first three quarters. And then the fourth quarter come along and everybody else can be bad and you hold them accountable. But when Justin Herbert just don't come through in the fourth quarter, or maybe when he come through for one fucking drive in the fourth quarter, you don't say shit about that. That's very interesting to me. Nonetheless, Chicago was on the road in Tampa Bay. They lose 17-27. Listen, bro, I done told you the script on Chicago. In the beginning of a game, especially for teams who haven't seen them, they will probably be competitive because Justin Fields run the ball pretty decent when a defense is expecting a pass and just go back and defend the pass, and then he can take off. I even see plays where they so good at drawing up plays here or there where a guy gonna get open and he can hit that. But as soon as the defense realize, they're only throwing screens, they only throw short passes, he ain't testing us down the field, then they will come up and start to play it. Then they'll stop the quarterback run. The run game for the Bears probably won't get going into the fourth quarter, so that won't be a problem anyways. And then what will happen next is Justin Fields will be forced to throw the ball. And what will happen immediately after that is a turnover, whether it be a fumble or an interception. And God forbid it happen multiple times after that, because it'll probably happen 2 times after that. But God forbid it's a tangent one. Chicago Bears are predictable. And while I done said multiple times I'm not defending Chicago, because Chicago made some of the most asinine moves I done seen a franchise make in my lifetime. How do you draft Trubisky over Deshaun Watson at that time? I don't understand that. I will never understand that. I don't understand. I'm almost at the point where that is a S-tier blunder, taking Trubisky over Watson. But I'm almost at the point where it's a S-tier blunder to trade away your first pick in the draft for a number 2 receiver when you done had 2 years to watch Justin Herbert. Somebody in Chicago just they don't know what they are watching. And maybe that's why they haven't gotten the quarterback right, the receiver right. But they don't know what they are watching when they are watching quarterbacks, because it is absolutely no reason as to why they shouldn't have drafted a quarterback in that draft and replaced Justin Fields. For one, financially, it would have made sense because it reset the clock on the quarterback, having to pay the quarterback, and it would have allowed you to build a team around the quarterback. But I don't know, and I keep saying this, I don't know what people done seen on tape that told them Justin Fields could have been an MVP this year, that he should not have been replaced last year, that it's just all on the coaches. I want to see what y'all can do if y'all had to coach up Justin Fields, because you keep getting mad at these coaches for running screens when it's so clear, if you don't watch him his entire career, that they have dumbed down the offense to what they feel like he can do best. Not even what they feel, what they've seen with their own 2 fucking eyes that he is capable of doing. This is a limited quarterback. A scary, I said this, and I'm going to keep saying it. Justin Fields right now, to me, is not even on the level of a rookie quarterback that was drafted at Dak's position coming into the NFL. And maybe Dak overachieved, so that's a terrible example. But in order to get Justin Fields, in my opinion, to where you would want a top-tier rookie to be coming into the NFL, it would take about 2 to 3 more years of a phenomenal offensive supporting cast, a phenomenal offensive-minded head coach, a phenomenal offensive staff around that offensive-minded head coach. Like that, in my opinion, is what it's going to take to get Justin Fields to where he needs to be, because it is so many parts of his game. And I'm not even talking about what make great quarterbacks. I'm talking about the fundamental things that make you a good or average NFL quarterback. He is lacking. And y'all can continue to blame everybody around him. You can continue to blame the organization. You can do all that. But much like when Stephen A. defended him this morning, you're clearly not watching these games. You're watching the highlights. You're listening to what other people say. But you are not watching the full games. And if you watch one full game, you're definitely not watching enough to have a valid opinion, because I done watched every game of Justin Fields' career. And it ain't no way that y'all still blaming everything around him. I was telling y'all last year his receiving cast was not as bad as y'all keep making it seem. Cole Kmet could go to another team right now and be great, as could Darryl Mooney. I can't speak on Chase Claypool no more, because once effort become a problem for a player, I'm not banking on that player for shit, because I cannot bank on you having good effort. That's just a thing. I'm not banking on that. But DJ Moore could go to another team and be a great number 2. Like, I don't understand the running backs that's done come through this team. Montgomery, Herbert. Like, it's y'all can continue to blame everybody you want to. But it's not the offensive line being terrible all the time. Well, at this point, what y'all expect is for this offensive line to just be perfect at all times. And there was a lot of times in this game where they were perfect. But because Justin Fields' only pass that he is comfortable making is is 2 passes. The one that he already was told to make before he hiked the ball, and the one where the receiver is running wide open with nobody in his vicinity or 5 steps away. The closest defender is 5 steps away. And if that continued to be the only time they find success, or a screen that just break loose for some crazy yardage, then listen, bro. The results won't change, but you're going to end up having to change that quarterback. And you can continue to wait all you want to. But the fact that Chicago continue to make these historically dumbass decisions is just wild to me. Because like I will continue to say, there is not anything on tape that would have told you, if you are in that Chicago organization, that it's not Justin Fields, it's us. It is nothing on that tape that would have told you Justin Fields is so far and away better than these quarterbacks at the top of the draft that we need to trade this pick, this first pick in the draft, away for a number 2 receiver. We don't even keep the fucking pick and just draft competition at the quarterback because we got that luxury. We don't keep the first pick and take the best defender in the draft. We don't do none of that. We trade that shit away for a number 2 receiver. And I don't know why I'm saying we, because I ain't no Chicago fan. But I just feel like I'm speaking from the point of view of what a true Chicago fan should be feeling right now. This, to me, what Chicago done over the last couple years is hella disrespectful to this fan base, and is clearly, and it's not even a small market, bro. It's one of the biggest markets in the team. This owner just taking y'all money and robbing y'all blind, but y'all love to go at the players. This is on the owner and on this organization, and also Justin Fields ain't no franchise quarterback. But to continue to move on, Vegas ended up going into Buffalo, losing 10-38. Green Bay lost 24-25. San Francisco ended up winning 30-23, but my Rams didn't get their asses whooped, so I'm happy about that. Baltimore, my Ravens ended up winning 27-24 in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, I ain't even got to tell you that he dealing with a calf strain, because on every single network today, aside from Skip, everybody who talk about the Ravens and Bengals game only are talking about Joe Burrow and his calf strain. They don't care about Lamar Jackson balling out, because if he had to throw 4-5 picks, then they would have talked about it. But everything is only about Joe Burrow's calf strain. This is why the media is garbage. This is why I pray and I hope I continue to grind and get to where I need to get to one day, because we are not going to continue. Bro, this cannot keep happening. It just point blank. I don't even care if you're a Raven fan. You should not want this to happen. That when your team go out there and get a tough divisional win against a good team, a great team, all they talk about is the white quarterback's injury because of what they thought going into the game. It's crazy. Nonetheless, we continue to march. The Giants they go on the road, and they play like shit for the majority of this game, but then Arizona remembered, we might be trying to get Caleb Williams in this draft. And so they ended up losing. And New York ended up taking the win 31-28 in a comeback win. The Jets go on the road in Dallas without Aaron Rodgers. It's a tough one. They lose 10-30 because at the end of the day, Zach Wilson is what he is. But Washington and New York might need to actually go out there and look into trying to go make a trade for a quarterback that could possibly get him a chance, because that's a good enough defense, bro. I don't know why. Listen, I don't think Tyler Huntley is the answer, but a lot of morons do. So they might as well go ahead and make a trade, try to trade for him. Jameis Winston is out there. I don't know why you stand pat on what you know won't work. That is very confusing to me, but nonetheless, Washington somehow is 2-0, and they pick up a win in Denver, 35-33. This ain't gonna work with. I thought about this in the off season, and I'm probably gonna be right about this. I just don't see it. I don't think Russ is good enough from the pocket. I think Sean Payton is overrated. He was a great offensive-minded head coach a lot of years ago. Now I just think it's very archaic. And now I could even I could even say that it was the talent getting him by for them last couple years even then, because his offensive scheme ain't making too much of a difference. And I'm starting to realize his offensive game plan is to get the quarterback to throw as less as possible. I'm going to be honest with you. The Hail Mary almost got them off the hook. But in the end of the day, the football god said, not going to happen. And I don't blame him too much for it. This is very this is gonna be a long year for the Broncos, dog. They 0-2. They was leading in both games that they ended up losing. Yeah, I'm just I don't see it. I don't see it. And as much as I love Russell Wilson, the human being, I'm almost certain Russell Wilson is getting close to the end of his career, because if you cannot play from the pocket and you have lost all athleticism, and Sean Payton signed that contract he signed, and they still think he is an offensive guru, Russ, my boy, you ain't got a chance unless you're a backup. But that's just my thoughts on it. Miami ended up winning on Sunday night, 24-17. And listen, it was a good defensive competition or effort by Pittsburgh, by the New England Patriots. And by the way, the Atrium, I think is what it's called, the new restaurant in Patriot Stadium. Oh my God, what a beaut, bro. Could you imagine eating some food there with the loved ones, with the wife, the significant other, or something like that, and you sitting at the window where you could see the game? Like, that is absolutely insane. Nonetheless, yeah, not too shocked that the Patriots lost this game. Listen, bro, you cannot play the way that they are playing and expect to beat teams with legit talent that can legitimately move the ball and hit big plays. It's just not gonna work. The Patriots defense done showed that they cannot hold this thing together for you. They need, not in a bad way, but they can only be so good. They need the offense to show up at some point in time. And because the offense continue to stagnate throughout the entirety of the game, they have drives where they look good. They get turnovers and are able to have short fields. But at the end of the day, it's just not, it's the talent, it's not there. Kendrick Bourne had a missed catch in this game that if he just reach out with both fucking hands, he would have caught the ball. But for some reason, he reached out with one. And the ball didn't hit him in the hand. No. The ball hit him in the middle of his arm. Meaning Kendrick Bourne should have made that catch. But you see, the Patriots are void of talent. Void of real game-changing talent on the offensive side of the ball. And Mac Jones himself is not a game-changing talent. While I do believe Mac Jones is a good quarterback and could be far better in a better system with a better offensive coordinator, with better weapons, with a better coach, with just really better everything, I don't know what he's going to be able to. He is not a game changer. So if you're relying on Mac Jones to save the day, it's just not going to happen. Tom Brady left his team because of the lack of talent when he looked around the NFL and saw talent in all these other teams. For the Patriots to continue to march Mac Jones out there on a week-to-week basis with no talent at his disposal is ignorant. Well, Bill got 6 of them things, so ain't nobody making too big a fuss about it. But with that being said, I do appreciate y'all for joining me once again on another episode of Kicking It with Saint, the Monday Night Football recap. It has been a beautiful one. I will join you again at some point in time on Wednesday. I'm not sure if the video will be up by Wednesday night. I'm hoping that it's up by Wednesday night, but it could be up by early Thursday morning before the game. My picks and predictions, along with another week of Henry's picks and predictions. We'll dive more into those results from this week too. But I do appreciate y'all once again for joining me, man. Have an absolutely phenomenal night. It is 2 a.m. where I am at. Whatever point in time it is where you at, morning, night, afternoon, have a great day, period. Tell somebody you fuck with them, tell somebody you love them, and love the fuck out of those who love you. Life is too short and the world is filled with so much unnecessary hate and vitriol. It is very, very, very important to love today. Not to just be loved, but to also go out there and love other people unconditionally. You don't never know what somebody going through. And I'm going to be honest with you. A hug, a smile, I hope you have a good day could change somebody's day. The simplest of compliments could uplift somebody's down day. So go out there and spread joy, spread love, spread peace and positivity, and have a dope fucking day. With that being said, like, subscribe, share, and I truly do appreciate the support, and I cannot wait till the day I'm able to pay it back forward. Have a great night, y'all. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.